we're talking about like B2C advertising, Google Ads, TV, things like this. But you've got some unique strategies to help maybe the premier litigators generate some more cases. And one of those is a strategy with press releases. And I was just wondering if you could speak on that, because that's something that we don't talk about a lot.
Well, if you want to generate business, I can tell you how you do it. First, you have to do a good job so you have something to talk about. But once you actually do a good job, you should let the world know. Do a press release, put an ad in somewhere. I like to do public speaking. I would speak to groups of lawyers and explain how you do this. I would lecture people on how to do what. I know that when I wanted to get out there at first, when I first opened Callahan Blaine, I started writing an article called "It's the Law" for the Orange County Business Journal. There's my name now. People are seeing the name. I got a hold of the Orange County Bar Association. I want to do seminars. So I would contact all the biggest trial lawyers in California and beyond, and they all want to speak. You ask them to speak, they're there to speak, because they know that's how they get business. So like by example, I would do a day-and-a-half seminar, a morning session, afternoon, and next time a morning, and you'd have a Supreme Court justice for lunch. And guess what? I put myself on one of those panels. So the audience goes, big shot, big shot, big shot, big shot, gotta be a big shot. But then I would get referrals from doing that. Remember I mentioned press releases? So here's something. I had this case. It's Beckman Coulter versus Flextronics. It was a 3-month jury trial. And initially it was a $2 million breach of contract case. They offered me $300,000. I took the case over from an attorney, and I was going to go to trial. Then they offered $1 million. We started trial, and I demanded 3, and they offered 1. Then I demanded 5, and they offered 3. Then I demanded 8, and they offered 5. And it went on like that until eventually I offered 16, and they were stuck at 10. We went to the jury, and what I had is a first cause of action for a $2 million breach of contract, the second cause of action for a $300,000 fraud that I discovered during discovery, and then 7 weeks into the trial, I amended the complaint to add 2 more causes of action for economic duress, which is basically a subspecies of fraud. And the jury came back unanimous, and they gave me the $2 million for the breach of contract, the $300,000 for the fraud, plus $1.25 million punitives. And I don't remember what the compensatory damages were on the last 2, but they gave me $180 million in punitive damages on the third cause, and $750 million in punitive damages on the fourth cause. It was good. Then when the judge brings us back and says, well, we have this verdict. I said, Your Honor, rather than read that verdict today, here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, why don't we had 16 jurors, and we never lost a one. You picked the 4 officers' names out of a hat at the end, and they were visibly disappointed. Why don't we call them all, let them come back and for the reading of the verdict, let them be part of it. At the same time, it'll give us an opportunity to talk about settlement one last time. Judge said, that's a good idea. We'll read the verdict in the morning. I went home, and not home, went to the office. I did a press release. I notified everybody we were going to have a huge verdict in the morning. The courtroom was packed, not just with my attorneys and my clients, but the courtroom was packed with the press. And I thought maybe the verdict was going to come in somewhere between 25 and 75 million. But it came in a bit higher, 934 million. Well, so both these companies are publicly traded, and their stock was frozen within 15 minutes of the reading of the verdict. So I used that press release to generate a lot of excitement. I also had, when they released the verdict at 9 in the morning, I had all the time I needed to educate everybody about the cases about, because if I didn't do that, if it came out on a Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, some lawyer, some newspaper guy would write up a story, throw it out there half-baked, and then it's yesterday's news. It's already covered yesterday. This way, it blew up. It was huge. So I did that because I wanted people to know. I wanted to make the biggest splash possible. So that's a creative way to do it.